Quit laughing. You're ruining it.
Okay. I already quit.
Welcome to the show. Today, you fucking laugh. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the 7 biggest things you need to know before you start a distillery. Because I know you're thinking about doing it. Right?
Or at very minimum, you need to have considered them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because we've seen this question come up quite a lot, actually. As many of you know, Daniel and I are starting our own distillery. We got construction going on in the building right now. And periodically somebody will chime in and says, hey, it'd be great if you guys would kind of give us a little bit of a background, behind-the-scenes peek in what goes into putting together a whiskey distillery.
Yeah.
And because Daniel's boring.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough time to fix the boredom. And that's what we're doing.
We're going with it.
Sure.
All right. Well, first things first. We've paired a whiskey with everything that we're doing here.
Sure.
So this is Law's Whiskey House, 4-grain straight bourbon.
Because the first thing you need to keep in mind is your state laws.
That's right. And also remember, distilling for home purposes is actually illegal.
Super illegal.
So you can brew at home just fine, but the moment you involve a still, you're now illegal.
So the state laws that we're focused on, it varies somewhat state by state, yeah?
Yeah, so in every state it's illegal to distill at home. Right. However, if you're going to start a whiskey distillery, you need to remember that are you in a state-controlled state, a 3-tiered state? What kind of production shit do you have going on, right? So first thing when we decided to start ours was we had to figure out what licenses were we getting, and did they need to happen in any specific order?
So many licenses!
Yes. Yeah, we probably dropped 10 grand in licenses and lawyers before we even decided whether we could do this thing or not. Yeah. It took the waiting period for the feds was like 9 months. We got ours in about 3 weeks.
Oh, that's another thing.
Because of a thing. And what is the thing?
The thing is, have a good lawyer.
Yeah. So
it helps a lot.
What happened when Rex and I started this thing is I started researching it, and I actually read all 300 pages of the TABC liquor law federal state codes. Yeah. Because I'm that nerdy.
Yeah.
And I pretty quickly realized, I can't do this. I don't have the time to do this. I mean, if this is all we were doing, we could do this, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't have the time to figure this shit out.
Right.
And so I went and found the best liquor law firm in the state of Texas.
Right.
And we hired them. And because of that, our lives were made a lot easier, although a lot more expensive.
No, we still would not be building a building yet if we didn't have
that's absolutely true.
Very high.
So keep in mind.
I equate it to, because I have a few different patents, I equate it to, there's a lot of places you can go on the internet and they can tell you, oh, we're going to give you all the information you need and the templates you need to file your own patents.
Yes.
Technically, that's true. Practically, that's insane. Because if you actually want that patent, and if it's any kind of complexity at all, the value of, yes, a very high-priced but totally worth it expert, it's just a no-brainer.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we got the federal license first, and the things that you're going to need to know are, they're going to want to know your building. So you're going to have that designed already. They're going to want to know what equipment you have. You have to know that already. They're going to know the equipment's going to have all the serial numbers and everything. They're going to want to see a layout of where you're putting the equipment. They're going to want to know that you have all the different areas of the distillery marked out. Right. Where your computers are going to go. Right? Where's the bar, the tasting room, the bonded store? I mean, everything. Right. So you already have to know all of that before you even start filing for crap.
Right. Now, the good news is it doesn't have to be down to the inch, but to have an architectural rendering or rendition of the thing that it will ultimately be created with some modifications.
And you can edit it, right? So you can spend money and submit an updated license application that's like, hey, once we finish the building, we had to move this thing over there. Sure. See a file in a minute.
And so that's for Texas.
That's for Texas. Other states, we have no idea. We have one life to live.
Number 2, money and return. What is this?
Oh, so here's the thing. It's expensive to start a distillery. Let's just say that right now, our building is still being constructed, and we're almost $250,000 in debt. Did I tell you that, Rex? Is this the first time you're hearing that? I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just to get us where we
Good
are.
luck with that debt, sucker.
I know, right? Now, fighting with the neighborhood, getting the licenses, getting people to sign off on crap.
And here's the thing that was surprising to me is that it's not necessarily you having to do these gymnastics because it's a gray area. Even when the law is like 100% on your side, it's black and white, it's clear, it's obvious, you can still have people within a 10-mile radius decide that they want to give you a hard time.
Yeah, they disagree.
You still have to spend all the time and all the money.
By the way, we've switched to another whiskey.
Because we said money.
Because we're poor now, and which Rex only just figured out.
And this is a really good.
Now all we can afford is Henry McKenna 10.
Because it's a really good.
It's a great bourbon for the money.
Bang for your buck whiskey, yeah.
So, Henry McKenna, here's to you. You want a little McKenna?
Yeah.
I'm pouring. Oh, you're going to go for the blend.
Yeah.
All right. Rex is creating the blend. Okay. So, the questions you need to ask yourself are, do we have a whole bunch of money we want to blow on this? Number one. Number two, do we have the time?
Right.
Right? Like, who is going to be paying for this, and what's going to be paying for rent and feeding our children in the meantime?
Yeah.
Right? And how long does it take to age whiskey, Rex, if you're not sourcing anything?
Right. That's why you see so many distilleries coming out with their clear spirits, their moonshine.
Yeah, or gin or vodka or whatever, because
whiskey has to sit on
bills.
in a warehouse for a while before it turns into something decent.
And you got to run those numbers, because assuming you sell out of everything you can, you clear, a couple $100,000 in the first year on a really small operation.
Right.
But you're already $250,000 in debt, and now you have employees. Those numbers add up really fast.
Yeah, so the thing is, you don't have to be you don't have to be a millionaire, but you do have to make sure that the money that you're putting towards this whiskey venture isn't your food and mortgage money.
Yes, and it also means you probably need good credit.
Yeah.
Because the money's probably going to come from a bank who hopes that you had a good idea. Because that's how banks work.
No,
You're just they're like, I hope this works. That's how everyone knows that's how banks work.
I will say this, and this is something you and I both ran into very early. The moment you start floating the idea of a whiskey distillery,
oh yeah,
right now, it is so much in the zeitgeist, and people are so curious about it, and they're so excited about it. We had many people coming out of the woodwork saying, can I give you money for something?
Can I invest? Can I invest in that?
Yeah. So,
and the answer to most of those people is no.
Well,
not unless you want to be a publicly traded company.
And the main reason, at least for me, you may have had different reasons for you, but for me, it was as soon as somebody is an investor, then they more often than not have opinions.
Yeah, I was going to say, then their opinion matters all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I'm not really interested in opinions because I can barely handle your opinions.
Speaking of which, that was the wrong one. Speaking of which, Monkey Shoulder. I grabbed the Canadian. Monkey Shoulder because...
Are we on number 3 now?
We're on number 3, which is, okay, you're starting a distillery.
Job roles.
Who's doing what?
Right.
Now, what I will tell you is everybody thinks, here, have a little Monkey Shoulder for your blend. Everybody likes to think that they're going to be the jack of all trades, and a lot of small craft distilleries try to become the same guy is builds the distillery, does all the mash runs and the fermentation, does all the distilling, then he does all the blending, and then he does all the bottling, and that's how family operations work in most businesses, right? But if you really want to grow something successful, you have to understand that you have talent limitations and time limitations. You have to know these things. As a matter of fact, our friend Jared Hempstead, head of Balcones, he says they test all the people on their team at all the different jobs, and then they use them based on what they know they're good at.
Yeah, so I mean, literally putting them into the whiskey creation process. Some people are better at nosing, some people are better at tasting, some people are better at blending, whenever there's like a target kind of whiskey experience that they're going for. And so they'll put people into these trainings, and nobody's good at everything. They're just not. It's
just not a thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have the time, right? Because, for example, we're doing multiple full-time jobs on top of this. So actually, one of the reasons we decided to source
with children.
And right now, I've spent 10 years blending, getting good at nosing, tasting, and blending. So I'm good there. But distilling is a whole other art form. And I just don't have time to get good at that. So we decided to screw it. We're not distilling it first.
You know what I'm good at?
Drinking whiskey.
Doing it right now.
So that builds us to, we talked about this a second ago with the state laws, but your building codes matter, right? So you can't just go find a building because you think it's cool.
Right.
You have to take into account who is around you, where you are, and whether or not that kind of thing is okay.
Is there a neighborhood close by? Is there a school close by? Is there...
Yeah.
I mean, for any reason whatsoever in the world imaginable, somebody can get butthurt that there's a distillery about to go in there.
So our compliance whiskey is Wyoming Outrider.
So did we explain why we chose these whiskeys?
I did shortly on several of them.
So Monkey Shoulder, because in terms of roles,
Job roles, Monkey
in a
Shoulder.
distillery, these are the guys that are like sweeping up the grain for ungodly numbers of hours.
It's a malady.
And they get like, deformities in their form.
Yeah.
Called Monkey Shoulder.
Luckily, there's a law when you build a distillery, you have to notify people if they're within a certain distance of where you're building.
Right.
And we're actually across the street from 3 full-on residential neighborhoods. Now, we're not legally in their neighborhood, which means we don't have to follow the rules of their neighborhood guidelines. We're in what's called the ETJ, which is under its own restrictions. However, because they're a certain distance away, they had to be notified by mail.
Right.
And then they decided to throw a fit. And the only reason it got ignored by TABC is because the guy who started the fight lied about us.
It was like, it's damn near
blatantly
libel.
like 4 or 5 different outright lies about what we were doing that we corrected, and then he refused to tell anybody we'd corrected.
So slander your name and reputation in everybody in the neighborhood. And then after that, you have a clarifying conversation to explain, and in the conversation, he's like, oh, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that you guys are fine.
You're fine. And then whenever you say, hey, cool, can you like kind of, update everybody? No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm going to keep fighting it.
Right.
Now, luckily, by the time I got to TABC, they went, yeah, this is bullshit. Here's your license. And we didn't have to promise or change anything, actually. We agreed to one thing on paper for TABC, but it was something that's in our original application. Mm-hmm. Like, we told them we wanted to do a rainwater capture distillery. Sure. That's in our original application.
Texas rainwater.
Yeah, and so when the TABC said, hey, would you mind putting that in writing that you're going to use rainwater? Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, because that's what we filed for. Sure. Mm-hmm. And so then the neighborhood guy went back. He's like, we want a concession. They promised to not use the well water. And I'm like, you fucking idiot.
What he said before you even threw a fit, man.
All right, so now we're on to...
Wait, so are there more building codes?
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to have things like fire. I mean, we found out we had to install a 10,000-gallon water tank for fire suppression because we're not connected to the public water supply and we're too far from a fire hydrant.
Which you could dip our building. Yeah,
we would have saved money investing in a crane. Whose only job was the fire department shows up with a pool on the back of it, and we just pick the building up and set it in it, right? So, but there's, all these kinds of codes. Where's the runoff water? Where's your wastewater gonna go? How thick are the building walls? How tall is it? Is there all this? You have to be thinking about all of these things.
Yeah. The next one is bigger than you think.
Okay, so the next whiskey we're going to use for this one is this freaking huge bottle of Jameson that you notice it's upside down. You know what that is? Because there are bars that have whiskey taps.
Oh.
So you set this on and then just whiskey tap it. Tap it in.
Show me.
No, God, that actually unscrewed a little bit. That made me nervous for a second.
All right, so building something bigger than what you're ready for right now.
Yes, this is the motorcycle analogy because as a longtime motorcycle rider, one of the biggest beginner mistakes in riding motorcycles is to, if you're new to riding motorcycles, is to buy the size bike you think you can handle, right? So you've never ridden and you're like, oh, I don't want this 1500 cc bike. I'm fine with like a 300 or 400 or 500 cc's, And then you get it, and 1 month in, you're really comfortable with it, and you realize this is not enough bike. I need a little more power on the freeway, and I need at least 1,000. And so now you immediately regret your bike purchase because within a month you outgrew it. So you want to build a building that you don't want to build it so big that everyone's like, it's a folly. plan for the fact that it's going to work. Or at least do this. At least build something you can work with and have plan B for if it takes off, what are you going to do now?
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm very distracted right now.
Why?
I'm very distracted because I keep seeing myself in this wide shot that Chad will cut to.
Yeah.
And the camera is right at beanbag height.
It really is.
It's just right there.
That's sort of gross.
It's just,
Why do you think I got my legs crossed?
it's just this whole ham hock thing.
Yeah.
Just right up in there.
Yeah, that's a ham hock.
Right.
Oh, God. Oh, Chad. Oh, we lost our video guy.
Left.
Chad's out.
There's no more switching. All right, Chad.
Yeah. Chad, close up only on Rex's beanbag
All
from
right,
now
Chad.
on.
You got this, buddy.
So now you have your distillery, you've opened, you've managed to pacify everyone.
Marketing.
How are you going to market this shit?
How are you going to make people aware that the thing exists?
Now, we chose Lafroig. Why did we choose Lafroig Rex?
Because when it comes to marketing, Lafroig is kind of amazing
They have their shit together.
at marketing a whiskey that, for most, is really hardcore.
Yes.
But it sounds like it's just this crazy magical adventure, like a mermaid's bathwater.
It's like throwing down the gauntlet. Like,
Yeah.
Lafroig could have taken the path of
No,
trying
it's
to
good.
trying to lighten their whiskey or trying to convince people it's okay. Instead, they just went, no, fuck you. This stuff is serious.
Right.
This is like a cigar-smoking walrus. This is like making out with a mermaid, right?
And honestly, the Whiskey Tribe and Magnificent Bastards, that didn't really start out completely as marketing. It's just, hey, let's have some fun and bring in some like-minded people.
Yeah, that's all it was.
And then from there, we kind of were presented with the opportunity to let's do a little bit of a distillery.
Yeah.
And then things just kept on growing. And you're doing the thing where,
Oh, come on.
all right, you make that sound.
Has no one ever taught you
You make that
this?
sound while Chad zooms in here.
Oh, come on. I can't believe you actually had that prepared.
He had it queued up.
I feel like we're on a radio show, like a morning traffic radio show now. Oh, yeah. I'm like
So,
the Kool-Aid man.
And because we have been turning away investor money.
Yeah.
Then frankly,
And fucking TV shows, for that matter.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
All right. We won't talk about that.
We have walked away from TV shows. One of the main reasons is because you guys are here, because you exist. We are pretty confident and secure that no, we got people that have our back, that are our people. They're excited. They're interested in what we're doing. So the fact that you have a lot of money, Mr. Investor, that you just want to throw at anything whiskey, fine. But I'm not willing to risk your opinion screwing up with what we have going on with the tribe.
Yep.
So yeah.
Now, if
hopefully that wasn't a horrible
I know, right?
mistake.
I know. No, see, we lucked out that we did it backwards. Most people build something and then try to get people to like it. We created a community and then we built something.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit lucky that way. But if you're starting something, you need to have a plan. You can't assume just because you care about it and you put a lot of sweat and tears into it that anyone else is going to give a shit.
Yeah.
How many times have you watched us review a video of a whiskey on video on the Whiskey Vault where we were like, yeah, this is kind of bad. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking,
Somebody tried real hard.
somebody spent probably all their life savings, got loans, quit their jobs, built buildings, risked their family to make this, and we're just shitting all over it on camera.
Well, but to be fair, and this is the point where I think we both came to this realization where it's okay for us to be not just honest, where we're hinting at kind of our real opinion, but just being brutally honest.
Yeah.
Is because we're very clear that anytime we adore something or we can't stand something,
Right.
taste is so subjective. It's just two human beings' opinions. And so there's like tons of people in the tribe that have total opposite taste than us.
Yep.
It's like, hey, anytime Daniel and Rex hate something,
I know I'm gonna like it.
That's where I'm going.
Yep.
Or people are like right in step with
It's just
everything
know
we
your
suggest.
reviewers.
Yeah, know your reviewers, like music, like food, like movies.
Yes.
And then you can gauge your own decisions based on whether or not you often agree with those reviewers, or you're often completely on the other end of the spectrum of those reviewers.
Okay, so our final one. How do you actually get your whiskey to people?
Yeah, more laws.
I'm going to need
laws.
another whiskey for this conversation.
More laws and more regulations.
And we're
Doing
picking
that-
Canadian whiskey because,
Canada had her back in the day.
yeah, Canada was doing their best to keep the American whiskey appetite.
They were letting the spice flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as much as they'd like to tell you, but a lot. Yeah. So
Did you add
this is Glen. I did. This is Glen Bretton's 10-year-old single malt, which I actually really like. This is in This is actually PEI, if I remember correctly. Is it PEI or is it? No. It's Nova Scotia. Yeah, Inverness, Nova Scotia. It's up by PEI.
Right.
And they're doing a kick-ass job.
I don't care about Glen Bretton. So
Okay.
the delivery and the distribution of your whiskey, because just because you made something, you can't, if you're in the States, you can't drop it in the mailbox. That's not a thing you can do. So in Texas, for example,
Here's a very regular conversation between me and Rex. Rex, I have this amazing idea, blah, 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 blah. Daniel, that actually is an amazing idea, and it would probably make us millions. Unfortunately, it's also illegal. Rex, God damn it.
10 minutes later, oh wait, what if we did this other thing?
Yeah.
The slight variation, yeah, that's
Yeah,
super
then
illegal
Daniel,
too.
yeah, that's still illegal.
So we'll
Yeah.
have about 5 or 6 rounds of these kinds of conversations until we come to a point where we don't know if it's illegal. And then Daniel will
Then I'll email the lawyer. And then the other day I got off the phone, I was on the phone with my lawyer, and we get to the end of the conversation. She says, Daniel, I always have the weirdest and most interesting conversations with you out of all of my clients. Every time you call, I know it's going to be the weirdest thing I've ever had to discuss with somebody about a distillery. I'm like, hey, we're doing our best.
And sometimes,
And as a matter of fact, we just filed for a label that there's no one, as far as we know, no one has ever done it before. And she said, I know of no one who's done this before, so I don't even know if it's going to get approved, but there's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
Let's submit it.
Yeah.
And we submitted it, and it got approved.
the distributor relationship is an important one, because in Texas, in 3-tier states, you need to have somebody to take it from your distillery to another third party, which is the retail store.
Yeah, you have to have a middleman. So there's makers, distributors, and retailers.
Right.
That's it, right? So if you have ownership in one, you can't have any income in the others. So either you make it, but you can't distribute it, or you distribute it, but you can't make it and sell it, or you sell it, you can't make it and distribute it.
Right.
So if we say Terry Dolan wants a bottle of our bourbon.
He's in Ireland right now.
He's in Ireland.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, the most we can do personally is hold a bottle at our distillery for Terry to come pick it up someday in Austin, Texas, in person. And even then, we can only give one person 1,500 milliliters every 30 days.
All right, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Can we dip a clean, obviously, tube sock into the whiskey, and then ship him that tube sock, and then he gets the tube sock and he wrings it out, so he gets like a half dram of whiskey?
Yeah. Sure. I hope my lawyer's not watching this.
You just get a really plush tube sock, soak
it in alcohol.
The whiskey, put it in a plastic
Here's the thing:
bag.
if the box smells like alcohol,
No, plastic bag.
but if the package somehow leaks and smells like alcohol,
Daniel,
we end up losing our license.
This is where you and I are different. You come up with problems, I come up with solutions. I'm solution oriented.
This is why Rex being in charge of all the business ends up with us in prison. Yeah.
We decided it's no more than a 15% chance we would end up in jail.
Yeah.
Because we're so small.
We did have that
no one's
conversation
paying
once.
attention.
Like, hey, if we do this together, there's like a 50% chance we might end up in jail.
15.
15's good.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, to get it to, say, a friend of ours in California, we have to be distributing in a high enough quantity that somebody in retail in California wants to carry this.
Right.
And we're not that big of a distillery.
Well, and here's what we have going for us. And it's really not us at all, it's you guys. One of the things we have going for us is because the whiskey tribe exists, and you guys are doing magnificent, bastardy things. As small as we are when we start out, because we have this amazing community, the most engaged community of whiskey lovers on planet fucking Earth. Because you guys are, I'm assuming, somewhat curious to partake, have a little sample of the things that we come up with, then we'll be able to tell people, no. Small quantities, but we have this many bastards in California.
Yeah, bring in
this
maybe
many
2
bastards
cases.
in Iowa, this many bastards in New York. We have people that want to try this. They are going to drive to your store. They're going to get this stuff. And then that's whenever they will take the risk, put it on the shelves. Because we have people that,
And really the best way to do that is, it's funny because it reminds me of my music days, which was one of the easiest ways to get your music on the radio really fast and bypass all of the normal channels, was if you had a really serious following who spent a lot of time calling the radio station requesting your song. And then eventually the radio station would reach out to your management and go, hey, we really need their album because we've had 500 people request this song in the last 2 weeks. And then it would be on the radio, right? So there's a point at which if there's enough of you in a city, you can pick one store to go hassle. And you could go to that guy and everyone they're all going to that guy and they're like, look, and it's got to be a small guy because the big chains, they're locked up with bulk contracts. It's got to be a mom and pop shop. Go to a mom and pop shop and say, look, if you get it, and they just need to know if we brought in 2 cases of this, we could sell through all 2 cases, right? That's enough for a mom and pop shop to do anything. And then we just got to figure out a distributor to get it to them. So it's totally possible.
That makes the distributor conversations 100 times easier.
Yeah.
Like, no, we got people that want to buy this. Just drive the freaking truck, man.
Yeah, because then what happens is a store calls us and says, who's your distributor? And we say, well, who do you use?
That's our distributor.
That's our distributor.
So, quite frankly, there's a reason why the Whiskey Tribe is the Whiskey Tribe and not the Rex and Daniels Distillery Tribe. So, we always wanted the tribe to be much bigger than, quite frankly, we're ever going to be able to grow our distillery.
Absolutely.
So we're making stuff, and we hope that you guys absolutely fall in love with our own plans. And we want to bring you. We're going to have more details about this in the coming weeks and months. But we're going to bring you very, very heavily into that whiskey creation process with us. But it's about all whiskey. The tribe isn't limited to what are Rex and Daniel doing. It's like we're going to be doing some stuff, and hopefully you think it's really cool. But just anything cool in whiskey. Other distributors or other whiskey distilleries, other countries doing cool things.
Absolutely.
Then, we're all about it.
All right, so I think we need a celebration whiskey, but you're going to need a new glass because I'm not going to blend this one.
I have glasses. I have your glasses in my office.
Go get one.
All right. I have a lot of your glasses, actually.
Again?
Yeah.
You just returned like 30.
Yeah.
So now that we have this moment to ourselves.
I can hear you. I'm still mic'd and I can hear you.
Now that Rex's beanbag isn't in the shot with us. Oh, there he is. The Rex 6.
Further down.
And on the 6. Oh yeah. You're invading my personal space.
Just want you.
I'm not pouring you whiskey until my personal space is no longer invaded.
Here, let me move that.
No, God.
You have it clipped on the wrong part.
Okay, so we're gonna end it with something special that you don't actually get to taste.
It's just like a Vault episode.
It really is. This is fantastic. Remember that one of my favorites
we won't
single malts is Feather Cairn.
We were not going to do a review. This smells amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Chad, you need to get in on this, buddy. Wait.
Oh yeah, merch. Wait. Oh.
There we go.
There's the close-up. Oh.
Damn you, Chad. Now I look like a fool.
Yeah, because that was all it took.
So anybody that has the newsletter at whiskeytribe.com, they know we've had these shirts for weeks now. First time on a video, we have amazing Whiskey Spirit Eagle and Sami Bear shirts.
Thanks to Thomas Graves.
Thanks to Thomas freaking Graves. This is original art that he made for the Whiskey Tribe.
Dude, this
Daniel only wears black.
this single malt is amazing.
No, I know, but this isn't the review show.
It's not the review show, but it's so good.
No, it's kind of amazing. And Chad, I need
guys.
I need you to not zoom in now because this is so amazing. There's
It's gonna get a different YouTube rating.
all right. I think we've bored people enough.
Cheers. Are we doing fighting, stealing?
Yes, every time. Just say the
Okay.
goddamn thing. There's an edit point. Fucking hell.
We're leaving that shit in. All right, here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight, may you fight for friends.
If you steal, may you steal lovers' hearts.
If you drink,
May you drink with us.